Koreans began to immigrate to the United States in the late 70s and 80s. Before the Immigration Act of 1965 eliminated the quotas in place since 1924, U.S. immigration laws had virtually precluded Asians from entering the United States as immigrants. At the same time, Korea was undergoing rapid industrialization, rising from the ruins of the Korean War in the 1950s and becoming one of 5 nations in the world to produce automobiles. Because of its strong emphasis on education, Korea was led by a highly educated workforce, the secret to its success and rapid growth. However, strong competition limited upward mobility, prompting Koreans to look beyond their borders. Korean immigration, therefore, began in trickles as the new Immigration Act allowed families of current U.S. citizens and permanent residents to immigrate. Soon, waves of Koreans crossed the Pacific and settled largely in the major cities, such as New York and Chicago, with L.A. attracting the highest numbers. By the early 90s, most of the Korean immigrants in Los Angeles had been in the U.S. for less than 10 years.
The first generation who came over, many of them, very well trained, very good professionals, couldn't get into their profession because of the language barrier. So they became something else, became shop owners or storekeepers, innkeepers, and those were acceptable positions in marginal areas of the time to invest in.
It's not in general that Korean Americans or African Americans had tensions. We're talking about a geographic area, mainly around South Central Los Angeles, which is low-income neighborhood and had a history of impoverishment.
But such an influx of Koreans in South Central was resented by the African American community.
And if you go back to 1980, the Amsterdam News, the largest black newspaper in New York City, has a front page headline talking about Korean invasion in African American neighborhood. LA Sentinel, largest newspaper in west of Mississippi, in the black community. In 1983, they also had a front page. They in fact had a 5-part series on the Korean immigrant merchants, how they were rude and disrespectful, and they were taking resources away from the black community, all that negativity.
But the sort of position of African Americans in this country has been, historically a very tenuous one in terms of their relationship to the market. And African Americans have often felt somehow left out of the opportunity to participate in certain types of things like business and so forth and so on. So you have another group coming in when you feel you've been here for generations, your ancestors were slaves, and suddenly not only are you not having an opportunity to have a business, you then have to sort of patronize the business because it's the only outlet for goods you have in your community. And on top of that, there are cultural issues and differences that lead to misunderstandings.
Now the story that might never have surfaced if someone hadn't picked up his home video camera. We've all seen the pictures of Los Angeles police officers beating a man they had just pulled over. The city's police chief said today he will support criminal charges against some of the men. Here's ABC's Gary Shepard.
The 3 police officers facing felony criminal charges were among a group of 15 who stopped a 25-year-old black man last Saturday night, then beat him, kicked him, and clubbed him, unaware that an amateur photographer was recording the incident on videotape. Los Angeles Police Chief Daryl Gates looked at the tape and said he thinks assault with a deadly weapon will be one of the charges.
Some of the videotape, we were in an area right outside of Koreatown. There are a lot of Korean businesses in that area, and here we go. Once again, we got there just as this market was starting to be looted. Look at these people pouring out of the shoe store. You got to wonder what's going on in these people's minds. So I decided to try to chase some of them down and find out.
Where do you live?
Right here.
Why did you do this?
I don't know, because it's free.
Because it's free?
Yeah.
Don't you know it's wrong?
Nah.
The United States, how come they let that happen to the place? Why didn't they guard? Y'all running out of there with the food. I got to do some shopping. I don't have any food in the house.
Trying to protect their businesses from any contingency. Once again, I repeat, this is an unedited videotape, but we did manage to get hold of this tape to give you an idea of some of the individual actions that are being taken. And thus far, there does not seem to be any any looting or burning, at least right where they are.
I think he's holding a shotgun, and I think one of his purposes is he wants potential looters to see it. I think he wants people, all of them up there, want people to see that they are armed and that you enter their properties at some risk.
Look at this. This is inside a Kenny's shoe store. And, you know, it's party time. These people are smiling, as you heard. They don't care. They know it's illegal. They don't care. But I'll tell you what happened moments later. The Korean merchants and store owners who own that shopping complex, they were talking to me for a moment. They said they were fed up. They walked away. Next thing I knew, they walked out of their stores. 3 of them were holding guns, and they just started firing at everybody and anybody.